Good evening. You are listening to Midnight Radio. Tonight, we return to a story from the darker corners of the human imagination. A story by H.P. Lovecraft Memory. Read and interpreted by Midnight Radio. And now, let us enter the night. In the accursed Valley of Nis, the waning moon hung above the mountains like a thin, cold blade. Its feeble horns cut a pale path through the dense foliage of a colossal upas tree. Yet even that frail light could scarcely reach the darkness below. What the moonlight did not touch was spared from the eye. At least, it should have been. For deep within the valley, something moved. The slopes were thick with weeds and rank grass, so dense that little of the stone beneath could still be seen. Evil vines crawled across the ruins of forgotten palaces, winding themselves around broken columns and strange monoliths. Some were as thick as a man's arm. Others had wrapped themselves around entire stones and slowly, patiently, had forced them from the earth. The plants had time, man did not. Marble floors, once smooth and pale, had been split apart by roots. Great slabs stood crooked in the earth or lay shattered beneath moss and wet leaves. What had once been built by human hands now belonged to things that needed no hands at all. In the ruined courtyards stood trees of enormous size, and among their branches little apes leapt from limb to limb. They climbed, they shrieked, they vanished into the leaves, only to appear again moments later, somewhere high above the ruins. To them, those broken palaces were no tomb. They were simply home. Deep beneath them lay the treasure vaults. There, the darkness was deeper still. Between damp stones and crumbling chambers, serpents moved. Their scales whispered across the wet floor before they disappeared between the pillars, and beside them crawled other things, scaled, strange things for which there was no name. The stones there were vast, yet mightier still had been the walls from which they had fallen. Their builders had raised them believing they would endure forever. Eternity had other plans. Now, beneath those mighty stones, the grey toad had made its home. It asked nothing of the world. It needed only a damp place to sit. At the very bottom of the valley flowed the river Fan. Its waters were dark, sluggish and cloudy, choked with weeds and heavy with a slick growth that clung to the stones like an old disease. Fan rose from hidden springs. No one knew exactly where. No one knew where it went. But last it disappeared into subterranean caverns deep beneath the ruins, where no moonlight could reach and no human eye could follow. Even the demon of the valley did not know. And the demon knew many things. One night, the Djinn came. He was a creature of moonlight, smoke, and the cold air that wandered between the ruins. He drifted above the valley without leaving a footprint, until at last he found the demon where the shadows were deepest. The Djinn spoke to him. "I am old," he said, "and I have forgotten much.
His voice was quiet, yet it carried far across the broken stones. "Tell me, who were those beings who built these things of stone? Tell me of them. What did they look like? What did they do? And what was their name?" The demon was silent. Then he smiled. It was not a kindly smile. "I am memory," said the demon. "I know the lore of the past. I have seen things that have long since been forgotten." He looked down toward the river Than. "But I too am old." His voice grew softer. "And some things slip even from the grasp of memory." He thought. These beings were like the waters of Than. They could not be understood. The demon looked up toward the trees. Their deeds? Forgotten. They were but a moment. Then his gaze settled upon a little ape sitting among the branches. But their appearance, that I still remember. The demon studied the creature.
It was not unlike the little apes in the trees. The Jinn waited. "But their name," said the demon, "that I have not forgotten." For a while, neither spoke. Then the demon said, "It rhymed with the river. Than." The Jinn remained silent. The demon looked once more at the little creature in the tree. "These beings of yesterday were called man." The Jinn turned away. He rose into the night, growing thinner and paler as he climbed. His form dissolved into smoke and moonlight, until at last he returned to the thin, horned moon. The demon remained. He was in no hurry. Why would he be? The ruins would remain. Than would continue to flow. The trees would continue to grow. And down in the ruined courtyard, a little ape still sat upon a branch. The demon watched it for a long while. Then he turned away. You have been listening to Midnight Radio, Memory by H.P. Lovecraft, read and interpreted by Midnight Radio. Good night, out there, and wherever you are, sleep well.